The music and the performance and the fashion are one. I don't separate my art from my life. It is one whole thing.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Tom.
I'm Tom.
I'm Patrick.
And this is Chewing on Pearls, the show where we dissect and decipher Lady Gaga's chameleonic career and its impact, one pearl at a time. So yeah, it's Saturday morning.
Excuse me. We're back.
We're back. We're back. So we're back. And today we thought we would discuss Lady Gaga's lead singles for her 6 solo records. And why are we discussing that today?
Because LG7's first single is coming next month.
I know, and it's September 21st while we're recording this, which means that it could happen way sooner than we know.
Which is insane.
But I do feel like it'll be late October.
Yeah, I saw something the other day that someone said something about October 18th. And I feel like that probably checks out.
Feels
maybe.
right.
Yeah.
Or even closer to Halloween. Because what is that Friday? October 25th?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tune in to hear our thoughts.
Can't wait. So we thought we would go through each lead single that she's put out for each of her projects so far and just sort of talk about what they were and how they served the album that followed and the era that followed. So, of course, we're going to start with Lady Gaga's lead single from her debut album, The Fame. Her debut single, Just Dance, featuring Colby O'Donis.
Where is that man?
I have no idea. And who is that man?
Honestly.
I believe he was
he had one hit, right?
Yeah, I think he had a hit. And I think that
we're being bad historians right now because it involves a man. So
this is not a Colby O'Donis podcast, to be clear. I believe that Akon was supposed to be on the song. And Colby O'Donis was one of Akon's prodigies.
Right.
And it was something happened where they were let's put Colby O'Donis on the song instead of Akon.
Yeah. I mean, Akon, which we can get into this at a certain point, really was the one at first, but then
totally.
Made some disparaging comments later on where it was I cashed out at the appropriate time, around our pop when she was over.
Very weird.
Yeah.
So Just Dance was released in April of 2008. It was written by Gaga and Red One and Akon, and then produced by Red One. It's been certified 11 times platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America, RIAA. And it's also Gaga's first Grammy nomination for Best Dance Recording. One more factual thing, kind of going along with the Akon of it all, it was originally written and recorded as a demo for the Pussycat Dolls, which is fascinating.
Yeah. And Gaga opened for them, right?
Yeah, she did. I think on their European tour, she did some dates, which is to be there.
So funny.
Another fun fact about Just Dance is that it took 22 weeks for it to take the number 1 spot. It came out and it took time, and it's kind of historic in that way, I believe. And I think that's why there's been a lot of Chappell Roan comparisons, because it's taken her debut some time to gain traction. But Gaga very much so had a bit of a delay with her debut. It kind of went number 1 in Canada first, and it was on the dance charts, but it didn't really break mainstream for a minute.
I remember hearing the song on the radio, when it started getting radio play.
Yeah.
And people being this person can't sing.
Yes.
Which was so bizarre to me.
It was such a huge part of the lore of Gaga at the beginning.
Right. Where it was she can't sing.
Right.
But it's no, I'm very clear that she can. But I think there was so much in kind of the pre-2008, about authenticity and being a vocalist. You were either a pop vocal girl, like a Kelly Clarkson, or
a Avril Lavigne,
or
that,
an Avril Lavigne.
That era had kind of been happening prior to this, the singer-songwriter. Yeah. Which Gaga is.
Exactly.
But I do think that there's something about the club sound and the dance sound and like the electronic sound of this that kind of strayed from what else was going on in the mainstream at the time, which then made people say, this is not singing.
Right. And she was not afraid, and still isn't, to like give character to her voice.
Right.
And like use her voice in interesting ways.
Yeah. Be expressive.
Yeah. Dare we say. Express herself.
Oh. Ooh. I do want to say that Just Dance is one of my favorite Lady Gaga songs of all time. I actually think it's like one of her best, like probably top 5 best songs. I think it's perfect. No notes. It gives me a lot of joy. I remember hearing it at a like middle school dance in like the basement of my elementary school.
Yeah.
And I how old would I have been? I was probably in like 7th grade.
Yeah, probably. I think I was in 7th grade. So.
And just being like, what is this? Like, I didn't know. That was my introduction to Lady Gaga.
I remember in 7th grade in music class, we had to like give a presentation about our favorite artist. And like, I remember like standing in front of the class and just like pressing play on Just Dance and like watching everyone just like and me like lose my mind.
You were like, you sexual.
Yeah. Literally.
No, totally. And I don't think I had like been exposed to like dance. I mean, I was a kid. Like I was like listening, like the music I had been exposed to was like through my parents. Like I had been listening to like some Madonna, like early Madonna, Cher, and like Pussycat Dolls and like Gwen Stefani. But this was something else. And I think like the true electronic nature of this track really like opened my mind as like a music consumer, a child music
consumer. And the lyricism. Like, Just Dance has some whack lyrics.
Yeah. It's a silly track.
It is silly. It's joyful and silly, but it's also like serious.
Yeah.
Like it's like, no, just dance.
Yeah.
Gonna be okay.
She had said Just Dance was her freedom track, which is so funny because now I feel like she said that about so many of her tracks. But like compared to other songs on the Fame, I guess we can get into it being the lead single of the Fame. It really is just like a let your hair down, have some fucking fun, let it go, and baby, just dance.
Right.
It's gonna be okay to do, you know?
Right. Well, and that's the other thing too. The onomatopoeia of it all, and the interesting, like that becomes like a Gaga-ism.
Yes, very early.
In her songwriting, like these kind of like little doo-doots.
Yes, totally. So what do you think about the way that it speaks to or introduces her debut album, The Fame?
I have no notes about the single rollouts for The Fame.
Yeah, totally.
Like official, promotional, all of them.
It feels correct.
It feels correct. It feels like every single song on that album could be a single on the radio.
Totally.
But it is like, I feel like it's the perfect introduction. It really tells you everything you need to know in a way where like we obviously didn't know what was coming next, but it makes so much sense that like this would be the start of it all.
Right. I think that it's telling the general public at the time, like, I make dance music, like this is a dance record, and like I'm putting out a dance album, but like progressively the singles and like the visuals and just like the entire album is just more and more like theatrical as it goes on. And Just Dance does feel rooted in reality in a different way, where it's like, like at a party, at the club, dancing, like feeling free.
It feels like the most pedestrian.
It's accessible in that way. Whereas like, I mean, a lot of the Fame is more accessible than some of her later music, but I do feel like she goes more theater on songs like Paparazzi and like AA, Nothing Else I Can Say.
Yeah, and there's like as the singles release and like the world develops, like the world of Gaga develops, like it feels further from like just a night at the club.
Right.
And it becomes something else. But Just Dance really is it's the every person song.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a feel good track.
Who doesn't go off when they hear the beginning of Just Dance?
Yeah, it's like major.
It's like one of those that you're like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah.
Like, let me leave the bathroom.
Let me put my drink down.
You're at people are at a wedding. They're like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I think the whole concept of the Fame being like finding this inner fame that has nothing to do with cameras or money or any of it, and expressing that how you see fit isn't super addressed on this track, like on its own, but then like going back to it now, knowing what we know, it does just sort of, yeah, it does speak to that feeling of like when you're on the dance floor in a sea of people, you do feel like you're fucking famous. Yeah. You know, if you're doing it right.
Yeah. Friend of the pod, Cash, sent a little video this week to me that was like Fame era Gaga being interviewed like in the backseat of a limousine.
Yeah.
And like talking about like she was so deluded and believed so deeply that she already was famous, that it literally manifested.
Totally. Like the greatest manifestation of all time
100%
was her career.
Yeah.
I do feel like we can touch like briefly on the visuals. Obviously, we're going to get more in depth with this song, this album, this video in future episodes, but I do feel like it's important to discuss because this was her debut. Like, this is when we got the lightning bolt on the face, like the Bowie reference. We got like the Grace Jones Hood imagery with some of this coming out. And then in the video, she's kind of just like a hot girl at a party.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember feeling some type of way about the Just Dance video after I saw other Gaga videos, like, and like going back, it would always be the one that I'd be like, ugh, and like roll my eyes because I'd be like, oh man, the fucking like swimming pool, the fucking headdress, like all this shit,
just like a house party
and I felt like it was so like when I was like in my feels as like, oh, she's an artist, and then I would like look at that and be like, oh, but now I watch that video and I'm like, what joy.
Yeah, I'm like, I would kill to be at that party.
I'm like, what privilege. To be in that room.
Yes, she looks so cute and young. And I do love, like, you know, in hindsight, the way that party in the video looks very like indie sleaze. Like, it's like a disco girl, pop girl crashed a party with all of these hipsters. And she's like, no, we're not listening to like some like highbrow shit anymore. Like, I'm pulling up to this party in this outfit, my pink blazer. Is it pink? Is it blue?
No, no, it's
and like my glittery little bra top, and like we are playing a dance electronic track. And I think it's funny in hindsight because it speaks to what was going on in the culture at the time. Like we were just saying, this like movement toward pop as like a real genre. And I think that ties into like the recession pop of it all too. Yeah,
totally. Like as America was in like economic turmoil.
Like all of our dads were laid off.
Yeah, literally. And it's like, it was just music about like being hot, partying.
Yes.
Like,
and aspiring for like wealth and fame and success and all of that stuff. And
it is funny now that it's like the girls don't even know that their little photo dumps on Insta, these like zillennials, it's like all of your house parties are trying to look like the Just Dance house party.
Totally.
And your little like digital camera, like.
I always wonder if Just Dance would have stuck. I mean, it's an incredible track, so it would have done well regardless, but if it would have stuck, or if Gaga's like first era would have stuck if the recession wasn't happening. Like historically, dance music has become more popular during recessions. Like this has been like well studied. But that kind of yearning for like having your like face on dollar bills and stuff in the Poker Face video, and that kind of like, I'm pretending I'm famous, but I'm literally just wearing like a bodysuit and like a wig.
And I like glued broken disco ball pieces to
and
myself.
In a weird way, it did feel like an introduction to drag for like a lot of people, but they didn't know it.
Right.
And I love that. But
one last thing I'll say about this song. Also introduces the iconic Lady Gaga bridge of it all.
Yes.
Like the formula of this song is like very much like how to make a Gaga banger. Like,
yeah, and it has
long all the components
because she has two verses, a bridge, and then Colby has a verse.
Right.
But by
and the ad libs at the end.
And then you get this like last chorus, but you're not tired. It's like perfect. I'm like, I don't need Colby. I can take him or leave him. But like her whole like how psychotic, sick, hypnotic, like that whole bit is insane. Like that is dance music, like dance vocals, and I love it. Just Dance, you will always be famous.
Period. All right, moving right along, we've got the lead single from The Fame Monster, Bad Romance, released October 2009, written by Gaga and Red One and produced by Red One, certified 11 times platinum, and it won the Grammy Award for Best Female Pop Vocal. It debuted at number 9 on the charts, then went to number 2, blocked by Empire State of Mind, and then TikTok. So wild.
Isn't it
think.
so insane that this song, arguably what critics might say is her best song, or like what people think of when they think of Gaga, didn't go number 1?
Insane.
I think it's fierce.
It is fierce. Also famously debuted at Plato's Atlantis, McQueen's last show. And yeah, it's been called one of the catchiest pop songs of all time. It's made numerous best pop song of all time, best song of the 21st century lists. It really is the first time that we hear Gaga, the like vocalist,
totally,
like really fucking wail in a way that doesn't feel like we were kind of saying with Just Dance, and a lot of the Fame that people were like, oh, it's auto-tune, it's this, it's that, and of course there's still like characterization of her voice, but she is singing.
The vocal feels really raw, and even like the verses where she's essentially talking, it feels like she's up on the mic and like in your ear. And I do love that this track introduced, like the Fame Monster did, the mainstream to like the darker side of Gaga. And it's funny because it's like, I don't know, it's like a catchy, like fun song, but there is like this darkness and like the minor key. And like, obviously topically, she's talking about like, you know, I want your ugly, I want your revenge, I want your psycho, like all of that stuff. And I think it perfectly jumped off of the point that she was at with like paparazzi and the blood and all of that. Like she doubled down and sort of said, let's go dark.
Yeah, this is a song that like people will go off to, but I think rarely really think about like the lyrical content and like what she is communicating. Like I am so deeply in love with this person that I want all of the terrible, awful things that you possess.
Right. And it kind of feels like, in a way, a thesis statement for like the first couple of her albums. That feels like a theme that is so explicitly expressed in this song, but is like implicitly expressed in like every other song she was putting out around this time.
Yeah.
Like, I want your darkness. Like, I am like a lot of love songs that are about kind of the underbelly of it and not the shiny and pretty parts.
Totally. Also, the fucking beat on this song.
Yeah.
Nasty.
It's like vaguely European. It introduced sounds to pop radio that were not on pop radio in America, at least.
Yeah, totally.
Very like unique kind of. I think it's hard to talk about it now because it is such an iconic track, but I think ultimately it had way more of an influence on like the pop soundscape to follow than like we even realize right now.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it really did introduce like harsh, heavy electronic sounds to radio.
Yeah. Like going a little bit more industrial, a little bit more like, I mean, even like new wave, like Depeche Mode. Like there's like a lot of layers of influence on this track that kind of, and then like the instrumental, and then she's like doing like a theater like voice on top of it, which is the most Gaga thing that you can have. It's like a nasty beat, like you just said, and then her being like, "I want your love," like totally. Like, it's so like she could have done it way more like.
And again, we've got
robotic.
the iconic Gaga.
Yeah. That's like
the chant of it all.
I mean, that's a huge part of her whole like brand now. Is that bit? Is that that's how people. They joke
you
about
that rah-rah bitch?
The rah-rah bitch, yeah. Like she is that girl. And whenever she does a little stutter like that, or like a little, like you said, I don't even know.
There's
what to call
another
that.
word for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
like
mean, onomatopoeia is like when you're like mimicking a sound, but like there's something I don't know
it's
the term.
Kind of like it's like a stuttering kind of. It's like breaking down the syllables of these words. It's like this made it officially a Gaga thing.
Mama.
Yeah. Definitely. She did say it's about being in love with your best friend, which I think is very sweet. She was kind of like slightly letting the public in on her love life, perhaps, in some of the interviews she did about this track, but never speaking at length, just being very vague.
And I know we're not talking visual, but
we have to.
Probably my favorite.
Wow.
Every single shot of this video.
It's crazy.
Is insane. And like burned into my brain.
Yeah. It's a fashion show. It's a story. It's a film.
It's a film.
It's everything.
In one room.
It's in one room. Like the Gaga of it all. And just also the way that it is narratively so dark and is like one of the most viewed music videos of all time. Like you have like models drugging her and like selling her to like the mafia, the mob.
Yeah.
Like what? Like it's dark. She kills a man at the end.
Yeah.
And yet this is like one of the most iconic, most awarded music videos
They use
ever.
a Wii nunchuck to bet on her.
Like it's so crazy. Like it is an insane video, and I wish I could have been there.
And the way that she looks,
so beautiful. That's another thing, is that she's like a little bit more bare.
She looks unwell, and like she is thin. She's
very thin, but she's also like, she's painted.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You can see her face more than in some of the visual projects she did for the Fame. The bang is in her eye. She's got these big lashes on. There's kind of like this like hiddenness. And in this, we get this in this video, we get this shot of her in the bathtub, the very minimal makeup on, you know, lip syncing for her life in that damn bathtub.
Oh God, the video is so good.
Yeah, and even like the sex of it all, I think that's something that obviously like pop stars before her were doing sex, but it was like at that time in the culture, it felt dirty in a different way. Like, I don't know, like vaguely pornographic. Almost, even though there's no sex happening.
Yeah,
something about it. Like she was able to evoke that kind of seediness in one room, one white room with just choreo and like some skimpy clothes. Like it, but there's no like sexual content really.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's erotic.
It is. That's the word I'm looking for.
It is one of those that it's like funny to see people react to in public, because it's like we obviously have such a strong connection to that song, but like people who aren't fans are like, whoa,
yes, totally,
like at a soccer game, like
it's,
you know,
so
it's
crazy.
so yeah.
Like usually when I'm listening to it, I'm also watching the video because it feeds me spiritually.
Right.
But I think I need to like seek it out a little bit more in my like Gaga listening.
I remember like blasting through pairs of like fucking Skull Candy headphones, plug-in headphones, just like destroying them, listening to this Bad Romance over and over and over again, like on max volume on my MP3 player.
God.
Until I got my heartbeats.
Oh, which she shows off.
Which I also broke, but it's fine.
She shows those off in this video as well, little product placement. Okay, so moving right along, the lead single for Gaga's third album, Born This Way, was the song Born This Way. It was released in February of 2011, written by Gaga and Jeppe Larsen. I don't know who that person is. Produced by Gaga, Fernando Garibay, Jeppe Larsen, and DJ White Shadow. Certified 6 times platinum, and she premiered it at the Grammy Awards with its first live performance, life-changing. Debuted at number 1, broke the record for the fastest selling song on iTunes, which was 1 million copies in 5 days. And just kind of a departure for her. Like, as much as there was this 90s inspired like dance beat, it was like that this song is like in a major key and she's like, I'm beautiful. Like it's
an anthem.
Yeah, it's an anthem, and it's like positive and uplifting and not dark necessarily. Like the song.
Right.
There's like maybe a little bit of a darkness to it because, you know, that's who she is.
It's inherent,
and the visual kind of like lended itself to that. But this song was polarizing boots.
Big time.
As I remember it. Generally positive reception from critics, but also drew the strongest comparisons between Gaga and Madonna.
Yeah, like sonically.
Yeah. Like people had been saying that about Gaga before, just with like the shape shifting and maybe some of the religious imagery and Alejandro.
And the blonde of it all. all, and the New York of it all.
Yeah,
and
all of that. But this song got a lot of comparisons to Madonna's Express Yourself, which to this day, I'm just going to say, and this is not because I'm a Gaga fan, I don't think it sounds that similar at all. Like, I understand how there are some like qualities that are similar, but I think they're very different songs.
I think it's also just like Born This Way is a little bit more of like just like a formulaic anthem.
Totally.
And like that's also Express Yourself, like,
yes,
structurally, they kind of serve the same purpose, thematically too. Born This Way, more explicit,
totally,
about, like, I mean, iconic that it's like the first song on the radio to say the word transgender.
Yeah,
like,
totally. She performed it at the Super Bowl, which is huge.
Huge. Like, this song, for whatever people say about it and you know, her, and question her own queer identity, like, this song is like so important to so many people.
Totally. I mean, I could really go into this.
Yeah. We can't even talk about the video because it's going to be 2 hours long.
Too. Like,
yeah.
Like, we'll
that's
get
also,
there.
yeah.
I think we should talk about the debut, its live performance.
Yes.
Like,
oh my God.
Well, first of all, she announced the name of her new album, Born This Way, at the VMAs when she was winning for Bad Romance.
Insane.
And sang a little bit of Born This Way on the mic, like tears streaming down her face.
Cher holding her meat purse.
Beautiful. Best moment in pop culture history. It lives in my mind constantly. And then later at the Grammys is debuting this song and like her latex.
Emerging from the vessel.
Yes. Latex alien dancers, barefoot.
Martha Graham inspired choreo.
It was life-changing for me. That was like the first Grammys that I really tuned into as like in a way where I was like, family, this is what we're doing at like 7 p.m. Central Time. Like, I'm like, she is debuting this song, and I read the lyrics on her website because she released them 24 hours ago, and I know what it's about, and I don't know what she's gonna do, and it's Lady Gaga, and it, like, I mean, I have a tattoo of her look from this performance. Really life-changing moment for me, like fixed to the TV.
I dyed my hair the pink shade, the embryonic fluid shade.
This bitch.
Honestly. Me going into a fucking like little salon in Massachusetts being like, I'd like to dye my hair embryonic fluid pink.
They're like, do you know what that is? And you're like, Lady Gaga has
Lady Gaga, yeah. They're like, okay, so we'll dye your hair blonde and tone it with like a wash, and then it will wash out in the shower.
You'll get out of here. I don't know. I think she hit on something really explicitly, like you said. I think people needed to hear a song that was like a gay minority woman empowering song at the time. Like, it needed to be on the radio in this way at this point in the culture.
And then now that we mention it, also has kind of an interesting legacy in a way where it is a song that is championed by many and then also critiqued by others, that it's supposedly uplifting, you know, with the use of terms and the language
that are completely outdated.
Yeah,
and we're outdated when
kind of outdated when the song was being used. Well, then we can also get into that too. Yeah, the idea of this song being used as like, you know, a way to generate capital for big gay.
Yes, like, that's true.
It has become it is the pride anthem. Yes. It is the, like, you go to any brunch in June, someone is performing this. Like,
I mean, I think it's kind of just, it speaks to, and we've already spoken about this a few times on the show, but like that complex feeling around being a fan of someone who is so popular. Like, this song means something to us regardless of the way that it has been used and like peddled around all of these kind of like campaigns and stuff. And for me, when I hear Born This Way, I'm like, this is the heart and soul of like my favorite Gaga record.
Right.
But
and she's singing directly to us, not those other people.
And it can be like, I can hear the criticisms of like this song, and they're valid, and like I know that it's been like overused in that way, but I just like, that'll never be what it is for me first.
Right.
And for a lot of people it is. So like, I understand why it's like not I mean, a lot of people think that this song doesn't even fit on that album, like, which is so fascinating because the album's like titled Born This Way.
Right. Yeah.
And the concept of Born This Way about this like continuous rebirth is so beautiful. But like this song compared to the rest of the album is like really explicit, really happy, really, again, major key. Like we're getting Gaga as a little like Whitney inspired, a little Madonna inspired, like that whole world. And then some of the other songs on this album are like, her voice is like distorted and she's just like, I mean, I'm thinking of like Heavy Metal Lover and Government Hooker and how bizarre those songs are compared to this.
Yeah.
So I think it told us a lot about Born This Way in terms of like the concept, but like sonically, there aren't other songs on Born This Way that sound like this song.
I am going to prompt you to share the quote.
Oh, sure. So I got this quote online. It's from Rob Sheffield of Rolling Stone, who acknowledged the influences of Madonna on this song, but pointed out that they would not overshadow the song as it, quote, summed up all the complex Gaga mythos, all her politics and Catholic angst, and smeared lipstick in one brilliant pop blast.
Ugh.
Which is so true.
It really is.
Yeah. And I think it's important that this was the lead single for Born This Way. I don't think it had to be. Like, I think there are other songs that could have been, and it would be interesting to see how it played out, but I'm glad that it was.
Yeah. Also notable to point out that in 2021, Gaga revealed that the song was inspired by Carl Bean's 1977 song, I Was Born This Way.
Mm-hmm.
And she often refers to it as being the most important song she's ever written. And she recently said performing it is incredible, but also makes her sad that it is still so needed and relevant in our world.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of a good reminder. Like, obviously our bubble is pretty queer.
Yeah.
But you know, for some people in the world, like, this song is still a defiant rallying.
Oh, totally.
Cry.
Totally.
And you know, and I think it is like, I feel this way about Born This Way, the album. There's like literal like magic like laced into this music.
Totally. It makes you, it's like my favorite quote from like the Pitchfork like 10-year anniversary review of this album is, for an hour, it makes you feel like you're made of steel. And I feel like that is so true of Born This Way, the album. And I think this song is like a tender moment in it.
Yeah.
And I love that it's not the opening track.
Yeah.
I love that it's number 2 on the album, which is perfectly placed. It's kind of like, oh, by the way, no matter who you are, like, we're showing up and showing out and we're going to be freaks. Yeah. And then the rest of the album is her being a freak. So it's just like the perfect song. I do definitely like listen to it when I need a little pick me up, I think.
I'll never skip it.
No skips. Thank you, Born This Way. You'll always be famous. And we'll talk about the video at another time.
Oh my God. Well, that might be like a 2-parter.
Birth of a New Race.
There's
Nick
so
Knight.
much imagery there. There's so many references. They're like, oh my God.
It's
the whole, I mean, this is a whole other thing that we can edit this out, but Gaga's relationship to violence.
Yeah. Fuck. All I'll say about the video before we move on is that I remember having family friends who had not fully signed on to Gaga, but then Born This Way came out and their like neo-lib selves were like, we love her. She's championing people that we want to see championed. And then the video came out like a week later and they were like, no.
Yeah.
This is too much.
This
like
witch.
We went to watch the video and it was disturbing and we saw her vagina. Like, it's like, no, you didn't. The thing that is visually paired with the song that, like you said, has been peddled around like big gay forever is like deeply dark and twisted and like not even
and
really
like an incredible
about,
fashion editorial.
Yes, it's like not even about like being gay necessarily, like implicitly sure, but like it's a complete concept narrative
of like birthing a new race.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. So thank you, Gaga.
Okay, rolling along. We have arrived at Applause. Which is so crazy to think that like Born This Way to Applause, like lead singles.
So weird.
So weird. Released August 2013, written by Gaga, DJ White Shadow, Nick Monsoon? I don't know. Chami, DJ Snake, and a few others. Love that.
I was like, God. I'm not listening to all these people.
Produced by Gaga and DJ White Shadow. Certified 4 times platinum. Premiered at the VMAs with its first performance. Did not debut on the Hot 100 in its first week, then rose to number 6 and later to number 3 after radio release. This is probably the most chart oriented single conversation because of the infamous roar versus applause that Gaga herself even acknowledged in tweets, and she was really leaning into this Gaga is over, Gaga is a fad thing, which maybe was a self-fulfilling prophecy about art pop kind of quote quote flopping because she approached the beginning of the era with that kind of energy.
There's so much to say about Applause. I think this was her first quote unquote comeback, even though she hadn't been off. Like, she was doing a world tour, but I think the culture treated this as a comeback in a weird way because of that injury on the Born This Way ball tour that ended her tour early. Treated it as a comeback because she had been so dominant for so long and this was like the longest at the time that she had not released new music. And then the Katy of it all, like you mentioned, like immediately like linking her to Katy in this competitive way and her fanning the flames and all of her fans fanning the flames online, which just kind of set it up for criticism.
Yeah. The song is bonkers.
Kooky crazy. Wouldn't change a thing about it. One of my faves.
Incredible.
Yeah.
People often say like, oh, it shouldn't have been the lead single from art pop, yada, yada, yada. I don't think there's any other song that could introduce that album in a more palatable way to the general public.
Totally.
Like, I don't hear another option on there.
No, there's nothing. And I mean, honestly, what I wanted to kind of do on this episode was to talk about what could have been the other, like the lead single otherwise. Just Dance, Bad Romance, Born This Way, Applause, like no notes.
Yeah.
Like perfect. I agree that there's nothing else on art pop that would have been palatable for the general public, but I also agree that conceptually it introduces art pop in this perfect way where she's literally talking about, in the song, it's about her basically getting her life and her energy from performing and from like making the art. And art pop is this like meta statement around the relationship between art and pop and like performance and authenticity, and Applause like touches on all of those things. And her like debut performance of this track was like way ahead of its time.
Yeah, totally.
The self-referencing of her past eras was really huge.
And like the visual transformation taking place in front of the audience.
Yes, which we talked about on the last episode, that art pop was about that deconstruction of Lady Gaga. But somehow through that, it became her most like performative era in a way.
Yeah.
Like the performance of vulnerability, which is just like this meta thing.
Totally. There were favorable reviews, but there was kind of this attitude where it was like, oh, she's trying to have another Bad Romance. She's trying to have another. It was like the first time that, because of her success of her previous albums and, like the influence that those songs had on the culture at the time, it was easier for critics to be like, well, not quite.
Yeah. I wonder how it would have been received if it had come out a little later.
Right, yeah.
Like, I think in a way it was almost too close to all of the like major hits that she had in the years leading up to this, so that it did, like you said, lend itself to comparison of her own work.
Right.
Like, sure, there was a lot of comparison to her, to Katy in the press at the time, but really the critics were comparing her to herself.
Right.
And I think for that reason, Applause kind of got the shit end of the stick, because as incredible of a song as it is, it's not like you describe Born This Way, Bad Romance, people like, even Just Dance, you describe, like, you hear those synths at the beginning and you're like, put everything down. People are singing the in Bad Romance. With Applause, it's not like that.
Right.
The GP is not like responding to applause in that way.
But interesting now that it's become like lore in the Swiftie world.
Totally.
That like Taylor Swift is obsessed with the song, loves it, and plays it before every Eras tour.
Fascinating.
And the crowd goes nuts.
Yes.
And it's like part of the ritual.
Because Gaga's VMA performance was the original Eras tour. And I'm sure Taylor was sitting there being like...
Taking notes.
Yeah, no, it's part of the lore, and it was also like part of the lore of like Taylor and Katie's shit, because it was like she was choosing Applause.
Yeah,
like
totally.
That was like, you had to be there, y'all.
Yeah,
the internet at this time, if you were a Gaga fan, you were in the trenches.
Honestly,
like it was crazy. Like the way that people were acting like one of these women was going to have a career and the other wouldn't.
I know,
and
insane.
They both like. Well, here we are. But but just like at the time, like whoever's song goes number one is a legend, and whoever's doesn't, dead.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, literally.
That's
well,
how it
and
works.
that's the thing too that is kind of funny about this whole period of time is like, you know, we think about Gaga now in 2024, and she's very much like media trained, and like the way that she speaks about others and the way that she carries herself.
Totally.
She wasn't necessarily so considered in her statements about others or the way that she behaved online at this time. And, you know, she's not a perfect person.
No.
None of us are. But
she was playing
she was a little shady
bit
boots
too.
Yeah.
And so was Katie. Like, I feel like it was just part of it at the time. And I don't know. I think it was like the first time in the culture that we had like a plethora of pop divas and social media at the same time.
Right.
Like it is like the Stan War of all Stan
and
wars.
I think it was also the time where Gaga felt emboldened to be like, because she had been around for a bit and she had seen the girls kind of change their POV to maybe be something a little bit more Gaga adjacent.
Yeah.
And she felt emboldened to be like, wait a minute, I'm gonna call it what it is.
Yeah.
Which I think is fair.
Yeah. Yeah. I think she started getting a lot more.
She knew she was already on the outs.
Yeah.
So I feel like she was like, I have nothing to lose.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she was always kind of like separate from everyone anyway.
Right.
But I think this is when people started like perceiving her as like snobbish in a different way. Like even though for the whole Born This Way era, she was like literally speaking in poems about like rebirth and like
wanting to be the moon.
Yeah. And like wanting to be the moon and like death and all this shit. But somehow with art pop, people were like, you are so, what's the word I'm thinking of?
Annoying,
like entitled or like even pretentious, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like starting to feel that way from her or feel that way about her. And
like they feel about us.
Yeah. Hello. Annoying, pretentious. Okay. So moving right along, Gaga's next album, Joanne, was... Am I skipping something?
No.
Oh.
It doesn't feel like it though?
Yeah.
I think that's part of it.
Yeah, fuck. Perfect Illusion was the lead single for Gaga's next album, Joanne, which was released September 2016, written and produced by Gaga, Mark Ronson, Kevin Parker, and Blood Pop. It was certified gold. Debuted at number 15, which was her 23rd entry into the Hot 100. And as many people know, Joanne was sort of her like quote unquote, and we'll unpack this one day because it's not true, her quote unquote like regular girl, normal girl, not performing kind of approach to the pop genre with this kind of, you know, rock pop country thing happening. And Perfect Illusion was a shocking track to many of her fans. I think a lot, it's very polarizing even now in the fan base. People do not like this song. People worship this song. People think it doesn't fit Joanne. Shouldn't have been the lead single. I would love to know your thoughts.
So I will say that I do love the song, and it's a song that over time I'm like, oh yes, I see it in the lineage of the lead singles. Do I think that it was the song that the general public wanted from her? No.
Yeah.
Do I think that she cared? No.
No.
We firmly believe that Joanne was a means to an end.
Totally.
And this whole period of her career was kind of this like reestablishment as someone that could take notes and learn and like refine to be like the next level of star beyond like who's the new pop girl.
Right. This is her audition for A Star Is Born. This is her audition for the Super Bowl. It's like a huge moment for her. I also think that Perfect Illusion sounds really different than the rest of the songs on Joanne.
And it's crazy again vocally. And I think it's whenever Gaga like has to prove herself, it's like, let's just bust out the voice. Like,
right. And I feel like all of her lead singles after like Bad Romance and Going On kind of do that. Like you can hear it. I really love Perfect Illusion. I will say at the time I was kind of like, like I don't know. Like I like the song. Like what does this mean for the era?
The key change really sold me.
Yes, totally. And she's screaming, girl. She's screaming. And it's fun. It's a good track. When it came out, I was like, oh, I want to shake my ass more. You know?
Yeah.
Like I remember that feeling when I was.
I also think it's interesting to talk about lyrically how it's like very clearly about the disillusion of like her relationship and, you know, falling apart and her like kind of being coy in press, being like, it's about social media and the lies that we tell each other and the illusions that we present on Instagram. It's like, girl, you're saying it wasn't love.
Yeah. We know what you're talking about. But she was very adamant in the press to say, this is not about Taylor Kinney. I would never release a song about my lover, like, or like my ex in this way. And it's like,
yeah, I don't know. I think he's the one that maybe that she would bend the rules on that one for.
Also, some people think this song is fully about like alcohol and cocaine. Like some people, I remember this at the time, watch the video when she's like in the pit, like the mosh thing, and they think her eyes look dilated and that she's like wearing contacts that make her look like she's on one. And I don't think that's true. I think the way it's filmed is just kind of crazy,
frenetic,
but like if she's like making faces. But there are some lyrics on this track that kind of allude to it.
Yeah, I don't think it's not about that.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what's nice about, you know, Gaga's approach to pop music, even when it is like a little bit more literal or less fantastical, is that like you can attach layers and you can deeply read into all of this material, which I think is interesting because, like you said, Joanne was all about this like authenticity, but it was drag. Like she was performing normalcy and trying to convince us that like I'm just a person like everyone else. And it's like I know that and we know that to be true, but the way that you were trying to communicate this is so considered and it is a performance in itself.
And this kind of like press push and like maybe her label push of like her most quote unquote personal album to date. I would argue this is like her fourth or fifth most personal. Like I don't like there are weirder albums that she has made that to me speak volumes more about her as a person.
Right.
Not to like totally criticize Joanne because I do love Joanne. I just think that like acknowledging again, and we'll get into this in a later episode, just that this was a performance like everything else.
Right. And the fact that it's like, oh, Gaga's country album, which no. And then this is the lead single.
Yeah. Interesting. So if you had to choose a lead single that was not Perfect Illusion for this album, what would you choose?
If Gaga wanted to be on the radio in the way that she was, John Wayne.
Yeah. I see John Wayne. I also think that, you know, another controversial Gaga track at this point for the fans, but Million Reasons, like if she really wanted to do like a See I Can Be This Girl, she never had a lead single that was like a ballad. And that song went huge.
That song did go off, yeah.
So it's not like my favorite Gaga song, but I think it would have been I would have loved to see how the Joanne era played out if that was the lead single. I think it would have been different.
Yeah. If we're being real though.
Yeah.
Hey girl.
Hey girl, yes, we are Florence stans in this house. Hey Florence, if you're listening.
Hey girl.
Literally, hey girl. Yeah, she was telling the fans like, this whole era is an illusion. Like, don't worry, I'm
don't
still
worry,
a freak.
Don't worry, I'm still here.
Yeah. Okay, I guess moving along. The lead single for Gaga's most recent solo album, Chromatica, was Stupid Love, released in February of 2020 on the brink of the pandemic. Written by Gaga, Blood Pop, Chamie, Max Martin, and Ellie Rise. Produced by Blood Pop and Chamie. Is that Chamie? Is that how you say it?
Tashami,
Tashami? Okay. Yeah. It was Gaga's first time collaborating with Max Martin. And Gaga admitted that she had resisted working with him for years because he was such a hit maker. And she was like, I can do it myself. But it was their first time collaborating. It was certified platinum, debuted at number 5, which was her highest solo entry onto the charts since The Edge of Glory. Yeah, it was widely regarded as her return to dance pop, 4 on the floor, electro pop, house-inspired dance music. Another kind of like polarizing track, I think probably because of the leak of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of disappointment. So the song leaked, like a month?
January, probably like 6 weeks before.
6 weeks before. And people were like, oh, well, it's the demo. Like, don't worry.
Totally.
And then the song came out and it was exactly the same.
Yeah. I think people wanted something more conceptual and perhaps like lyrically, topically, this song treads familiar territory for Gaga. Bad Romance, Stupid Love, Perfect Illusion.
It is a little formulaic.
Yes. Yeah. And again, it, like I said earlier about Bad Romance as like a thesis for a lot of her work. Like, of course, she always goes to like the underbelly or like the silly aspects of like love and like desire. But Stupid Love was just not. I mean, can I be honest?
Please.
I'm even surprised that it debuted at number 5 because as much as like everyone was yearning for Gaga in that moment, I don't really remember like hearing it on the radio or like feeling like the general public cared about it that much.
Yeah. I feel like it was one of those that it wasn't until later that it was like used as like America's Got Talent's
totally.
Like theme for that season or
totally,
like, yeah.
Totally. Like it didn't like stick in that way. But thinking about Chromatica, which I think is a generally kind of like polarizing album in her discography, especially for fans. I don't know of a different song that would have been a better single, like lead single, because the Ariana of it all, like she wouldn't want to do a debut as like a
I think you're right that like it is the obvious choice because it is like probably the most.
I could see Free Woman, but then I also could see how her label would be like, no. Because that feels too social justice, like empower.
Right.
What empowerment ballad.
I do think it's interesting too, and again, this isn't about the visuals, but like that really introduced this like super narrative driven, thematic, tribal world of Chromatica, and then the pandemic. So it's like, what was the plan? You know, I feel like there was a lot of shifting and changing. But it's interesting that it like introduces all of this like visual imagery and like these kind of like loosely political alliances and like this other world and like all of these like the text of work of it all. This like very kind of plain, like just like a font on a color.
Yeah.
Brat. Like the way that she was communicating and kind of like the imagery. It's like, what would Stupid Love have been if there was like a full promo cycle with it, with live performances
and her
like
doing interviews.
Yeah. Like it's just like, we'll never know.
Yeah. Especially because like Chromatica is supposed to be sort of about a healing journey, healing through music. And some of the lyrics on Stupid Love allude to that, but it's not necessarily like the best example of it. So like how would they have presented, like all of these other lead singles were sort of presented by her and her team as like here's what it says about the album, or here's what the album's about. Like they kind of like act as these like smaller pieces of a bigger story. And like Stupid Love does that, but maybe not in like a clear way because there wasn't this like full rollout. Like I don't really know, like you said, like what the narrative was going to be from Stupid Love forward.
Right. And there was a lot of criticism from fans about kind of her choices of presentation looking like quote quote cheap or like, you know, which I think was intentional, that it wasn't about being fashion. It was about like costume. Being a character in costume and like making these kind of Power Ranger-esque like tribe situations. But I think people also were like, oh, she doesn't have it anymore. Like,
yeah,
she can't do it anymore.
Damn.
And it's like, no, I think this is actually a choice. Like,
Totally.
she's being a kindness punk. She wants to look like she came from Hot Topic. Like,
totally. Yeah. Club kid kind of.
Yeah. Like DIY raver.
Yeah. It was almost like too clean to truly be that, but not elevated enough to be like fashion. Like it was an interesting, I think there was a lot of criticism of Gaga at this point, but also a lot of joy that she was like making quote unquote like real pop music again. And ultimately people were happy to hear it. It just wasn't like a 4 on the floor kind of track like some of her other lead singles have been.
It does go off, though.
It goes off.
It's like we're sitting here being a little critical, but I'm like, if Stupid Love were to start right now, I would throw this microphone across the room. And
like a lot of her, I mean, I guess to like kind of start wrapping up, like a lot of her lead singles, you sort of get, I don't want to say sick of it, but like when you've heard one song on an album more frequently or for longer than you've heard the rest, like easily it kind of like fell into the background of the world of Chromatica for me. And now years later, I'm like, Stupid Love is that girl.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Like,
it just,
God forbid we were at a sports bar.
Yeah.
And this song came on.
Like they wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yeah,
No, I love this track. I think it's an interesting, simultaneously a departure and kind of like a return. There's a lot to be said about Chromatica and like how it is a stepping stone, which getting into the LG7 of it all, lead single coming soon.
Yeah. And what do we think?
Well, knowing like her history of lead singles, I think they're going to try to use something that will keep her in her good graces that the Die With a Smile have put her in on Spotify, on the charts, something more palatable. But then again, maybe they'll take a hard left and say like, Katie just flopped. The alt girls are like having their year. Charlie, Twigs, like it. Let's show them that Gaga is like a freak.
Yeah.
Like I could see them choosing something really out there.
I've also seen some interesting fan takes where they're like, don't release the single now. Let Die With a Smile be what it is. Let it keep growing.
Yeah.
Like push it back, which I think is interesting. But I think that's like the kind of fan that is like driven by
chart
performance and like that kind of metric. But I think it's like, no, this is great. Like Die With a Smile reintroduced her in a palatable way. So like you said, LG7 can be a swing, like a big swing.
I think it's hard for fans to imagine 2 songs of hers existing successfully at the same time. And it's like, if anyone can do it, it's her because of her diversity as a performer, and that like Die With a Smile can still be successful.
And maybe this could be the Fame all over again, because those singles were fucking hitting.
Yeah, like that's kind of the last time that it was like she was like in those.
You could be in a 20-minute car ride and hear Just Dance and Love Game on the radio at the same time.
Like it's insane. And I think that, I mean, it would be really cool if Die With a Smile stayed on the radio and stayed on these like Spotify best song new hits playlists. And then she released something that like wasn't radio friendly, and it was like actually really like edgy and weird, and it was kind of more for being Lady and Gaga a little bit.
I also think it's interesting too that, you know, everyone was saying like, oh, the song that it was previewed at the end of the Chromatica Ball tour film is the lead single. But I don't know if that's
we don't
true.
Know. That was so long ago now.
That was so long ago.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
Yeah, we have no idea like what is in store for LG7. So, and again, like when a lead single comes out, it both, as this episode kind of explored, it both speaks to and doesn't speak to like what the rest of the project is.
If we had to guess, I would say nasty beat, funky words,
weird girl.
Yep, funky lyrics,
little screaming,
little squelting.
Yeah.
And something repeatable.
Maybe love related. If like she goes love usually. Yeah.
Some sort of onomatopoeia or alliteration.
Yeah.
Something call and response-y, repeatable.
I think something that takes the club oriented sounds that have been popular into a more mainstream place.
Something that sounds like pyrotechnics.
Yes, exactly. I'm ready. Okay, well, if you got to the end of this episode, thanks.
Okay, bye.
Bye.